I am so excited on so many levels to show you this garden today. First of all, I am here with my friend Sammy Bumpus. We have known each other for a long time, and I was talking recently. She was on the Oklahoma Horticultural Society tour about 5 years ago. I remember coming out here with my friend John Fluitt, who did this landscape. And we were at his place the other day with Roger, showing you some tidbits of what he's got going on at his shop and some of the wonderful things he's got there, which leads me to this design, because I want to really point out some signature touches in your garden that are just really special, and I think you'll see some influences of both John's and mine. Sammy, thank you for doing this.
Well, thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
This
Absolutely.
is not a large garden. It's like mine, but I promise you guys, get your notepad and pencil out, because there are going to be 1,000 different ideas that you are going to want to steal. We'll try to do some screenshots this at the end, so if you miss anything, we'll try to get it down for you. So let's start. Okay, how long have you lived here?
This is our 20th year.
Okay, so
20 years, yes.
But how long have you had this garden? I mean,
Probably, I would say John came in around 2 years after we moved in.
okay. So it takes a while to create a beautiful garden like this, but nevertheless, probably almost immediately after the installation, it looked really special. So speaking of special, I want to point out some really special things. We'll come up to the porch here momentarily, but first of all, let's concentrate on this driveway. This was not here when you moved in, is that correct? And you put in a cobblestone drive, and I love how it communicates with your brick. I love the color of your shutters. Is that something that you guys picked out in tandem with the landscape architect?
We did. John helped design these large shutters, which I love.
Oh, I do too.
And then we agreed on a color, and it's just really enhanced the
and another thing,
facade of the house.
I think this is specific to you. I've noticed a lot of wind chimes that you have, and I
love them. I do, yeah.
I really
It's
love
so
that.
pleasing and comforting, you know.
Very
and here with
soothing.
the Oklahoma wind, they're not too evasive, but they're just very mellow. And
Yeah, so
I enjoy those.
So they're very sensory, but they're also nice focal points and nice artistic touches. Okay, so here is tip number one, I guess. Stuart, if you kind of show the length of this arched drive bed, I just love it. And the thing is, one thing I like about this design and how John works is there's just a wonderful fusion of common plants with really uncommon plants.
Exactly.
And it works beautifully. And example number one, Stuart, look how this clipped boxwood, and this looks to me like, did you say it was Green Mountain and maybe some wintergreen boxwood?
Both are combined in there.
But look at how brilliantly it really camouflages your utility boxes at the end of the drive. And I love the differing shapes and how architectural they are, and they kind of mimic the architectural lines of the utility boxes. And then, this is one of my favorite things, and I think it's one of your favorite things as well. Sculpted trees.
Yes.
So that you really see the branching and the architecture. And you said this is just...
Those. And it's maintenance, you know.
Yes.
About every 3 years, it seems. We have them come out and go ahead and keep taking them up.
Yes.
So you can see through,
and
you know.
And exposing the limbs and kind of detwigging.
Yes.
Detwigging. This is just a common Yopon holly, you said.
It is.
I just love it. And we've just got some Nandina domestica under here and some Indian hawthorn. And then this, you guys, was something I am so excited to show them. So we were at John and Roger's the other day, and we showed them that brilliant blue bird bath. So tell me about your green version.
Well, this is a designer that is a local artist here in Oklahoma, and his signature, they brought out initially the cobalt blue. And I told John, I said, you know, I really think I like the green better. But if you can tell, his signature piece is the cobalt blue in there, just that little bitty piece.
One little shard, yeah.
And then actually also, if you look closer, I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's writing on this particular one. And this is the bottle from Jägermeister liqueur. And the birds love it, and it's just kind of our focal point right here in the
And it's
garden.
wonderful, and it reflects the light, and the round form communicates. Communicates with the other round form, and these wonderful orbs.
And the orbs they're hard to locate. John did mention these are from Mexico.
Okay.
There's one kind of hidden back in there. I think I probably need to move that one up a little
underneath the
bit.
Nandina.
But I just love how they've weathered, and you know, they have all of the natural green that we get from the humidity and
wonderful patina, and then just Mondo Grass. And
Mondo Grass.
I like the way it kind of comes and goes. It's not solid. It almost looks like a trickle of Mondo Grass. I love the way that looks. And then more Indian hawthorn up here. Again, I think common plants used in uncommon ways. And then I love the way this cobblestone comes up and continues onto the porch.
it's very, I feel it's just very welcoming, and it just opened up the whole porch area.
And again, the same stain or paint on this porch surround with these copper finials, these copper caps. I love the way that looks. The other thing I like is this is really formidable and thick, and
yes, and that is John's design. And oh gosh, I guess it was maybe 10 years ago we had this porch area designed because we are close to the street, and so I said to John, we need some privacy out here. And so this is what they drew up for us, and it's just been wonderful.
And it's a charming little garden room. And if you look at some of these concrete, these are concrete planters that John loves gravel, and you love gravel as much as I. And some of these are mulched. This is mulched in just these black stones, this boxwood is. And then I was wondering what this was. Tell me what you explained to me.
This is an Indian hawthorn tree, actually.
And it's
And
just
been
been topiary.
planted, absolutely, and this is going on probably the 10th year.
And you can do that because it's in such a large pot, and it's naturally a tough plant, so it does brilliantly in here. And then you've underplanted it with some ivy and some celosia. You've got charming little gourds tucked in your pots up here. And I love the entire entryway. And I love this kind of echo of the copper in the lantern that is repeated in the copper finials. And then you get an added dimension of protection from the west sun,
Right.
with this black and white awning here, but it also gives you another layer of privacy.
It's kind of like an extension of our home, because as you know, this is a patio home, and so it just helps us to come out here and actually use it as another room.
Yeah, as another room.
A lot of the Oklahoma weather, once in a while we can't, but mostly it just works out really, really nicely to extend.
Yeah, and you have enough I think, interaction. You can see people jogging by,
yes,
so it
yes.
doesn't feel as if you're completely secluded.
Right, Linda.
It feels very neighborly, but by the same
Exactly.
token, you have, oh, and you can feel a nice breeze with coming through this lattice. So it's absolutely charming. I just love it. Stuart, if you'll come over this way, I will get out of the way, and you can see that when you have awkward places like this, the solution so often is just gravel, isn't it?
Right. It absolutely is. Yes, it is.
And
It's just gravel.
matching the color of the gravel to the style of your home is just beautiful.
I'm so glad that you spotted that right off, Linda, because John was just so adamant about that. The colors.
The color
to be pleasing with that brick.
Yes, it's
And-
so. It's a very fastidious thing, but I think it's extremely important. And then another large pot here that has a cast iron plant in it, some kales and cabbage, and you've got ivy in there. So then for seasonal color, all you have to do is pluck out the seasonal color, and then you can put something else in there.
I like it.
As the season changes.
Very simple.
Yes, very simple. Well, this area could not be more charming.
Well, thank you,
And I
Linda.
have to tell you guys this little story. So Stuart got here early to shoot some still shots while they were waiting for me to arrive, and you two started talking, and
We did.
lo and behold, they did not know each other before this, but you grew up literally a couple of blocks away from where Stuart lives now.
And I went to school with his mother. And so we're just back. Our mind is right back in
Yeah.
where we grew up.
It's a small world and lots of family connections. Stuart is shaking, the elusive Stuart is shaking his head. Okay, can we come to the backyard? Now, when it comes to sculpture and garden statuary, do you select that yourself?
I did.
And then,
I found it on a girls' trip, actually, and it was in Arkansas. And she's a little Dutch girl, and
I
I
love
just
it.
fell in love with her. And over time, you see how she's weathered. And I
Yes.
just leave that alone.
and the
that a
color
good thing to
matches.
leave that alone,
Yes,
Linda?
it looks wonderful.
Well, she's
No, it looks wonderful. And then you've got a rain chain
That's
here.
right.
A rain chain. I just love it. So, Stuart, if you can follow us, you've got some more pots here with some jade and some succulents. More boxwood that flank.
And
the-
I love the way the rock has been brought in also.
Yes.
I want to mention that. I just love the rock.
So that when you drive up, you're flanked on both sides with similar plant material, similar gravel as mulch, and we should of course mention these really large stones
Oh, yes.
that provides an organic touch too. I just love it.
those.
And it creates a unique border.
Very much so. It really does.
And I like the way it then transitions this bed into the drive without just prematurely stopping and looks like it's just been truncated and cut off. It has wonderful flow. And then we've got more of the Indian hawthorn. And here, you talk about an underrated plant. I think Liriope is really an underrated plant.
I do too. What would we do without it?
Because it is so tough. And when planted in moss and very densely, it creates a brilliant solution as a ground cover. I love the movement that it has in the wind.
I do too. It's just
And then this is just Burford Holly back here, it looks like, that it is just
exactly
beautifully maintained. So again, if you maintain and prune beautifully what you have, common plants can look uncommon. And we've got some kind of hydrangea here. Do you?
no, I don't know what type that is.
But it looks like it blooms on new wood. And you can see it's got a nice little autumnal coloration.
You can tell I love hydrangeas when we get to the backyard. I just
Yeah,
love the
there's more.
hydrangeas. So.
And then more hollies. And then this, I love this. It creates a nice, neat pathway to get to the backyard. And this is a wonderful idea, everyone. If you've got an awkward side yard space that is often prone to mud and grass that has worn away, this is just a wonderful solution. More gravel. And great drainage.
Exactly. Yes, it is. Very much so. And no worries. It's just always neat and tidy and like, as you say, easy to get to the backyard. And you don't have mud everywhere.
Well, and in a patio home, when you don't have a lot of room, I think it's really important to make whatever space you have look presentable and as nice as the rest of the property.
Yes, and it can be challenging.
Yeah.
But it's just given, you know,
And
artwork and planning, it can be, you know, it can just work out just
beautifully.
fantastic.
And especially nice for your neighbors, because these patio homes are close together, and they've then got this really handsome walkway that leads down here. We're flanked by hollies, and now I love the way gravel sounds.
I love gravel. I like any kind of gravel, and I like
good drainage.
I love all of the natural
Natural,
and
yeah.
earthy.
And I love the way it sounds. And then right here, you guys, I want to make sure that Stuart gets a long vista through here, because I love the way you have flagstone
I love flagstone.
with
love.
gravel, and nothing has been left to chance. I mean, even around your vent, you've got some clipped boxwood and more Mondo Grass. So everything just really smooths and moves effortlessly. Your eye isn't jolted by anything. It's not interrupted at all. So we just have this little Primrose Mondo Grass path through here. And this is, how wide would you say this is?
Oh my gosh.
Maybe
it's not
48 inches, maybe a little bit more.
Maybe, probably that's all it is.
Yeah, it's not wide at all. But when you're down low, you have all of these interesting things to look at. Little fern, hostas tucked in here. But then this is spectacular. Look at this, you guys. Rebar Arches. Tell us about this.
Well, John came in and we kept looking out, you know, our windows in the kitchen, and we said, you know, obviously we need something here. And the next thing we knew, we had a couple of fellas out here and actually bending the rebar, and we have 3 different arches, as you can see. And then, of course, this is beautiful to me. This is my favorite plant, and which is called Porcelain berry vine.
Isn't it incredible?
And it's just incredible. This year we had to cut this one back, so you know it didn't quite meet together, but it's just beautiful, and I never get tired of this.
Stuart, can you? I mean, look at the colors. It does. Well, look at my
precious.
bracelet next to the
I know.
to
They're
the
so
berries. The color doesn't even look real.
I know. It's just beautiful, and I love it because you've got a little bit of the purple, blue, and then there's a little white. I'm not even seeing the white.
Here's a few.
Okay, there we go.
It's almost like an Easter egg color, and they're slightly speckled.
They are.
Stuart, can you really get a close-up of that? And the leaf, I love the shape of the leaf and the tendrils and how delicate it is. And it really weaves itself nicely, and then you've got it just secured with some Velcro ties. Now, we were discussing earlier that it does have one problem, and what is that? That it can be a little bit invasive.
It can. You have to really
Stay on top
stay
of
on
it.
top of it, and a lot of grooming and a lot of training, and keep training it up.
And it will send out little babies that you have to stay on top of.
Right.
But I definitely think that the effort is worth it. And the branching, to me, almost looks a little bit like the branching on scented geraniums. So I love even the way the stems look. There's a real lovely delicacy to it. And
It's really fun to me too, this particular one, because I look at it so much, and it just makes me happy. But I can always tell when the weather is going to start to change, because here come your berries, as most plants, and you don't have the berries all summer. And pretty soon, around middle of August, it seems like they'll start popping out, and the weather will just start to change just a little bit in the mornings. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, fall is going to be here, Not tomorrow, but it's doing its thing, so it's fun.
kind of like grapevines when the grapes mature.
Yes.
So is this is a perennial, and it
Yes,
comes
it is.
back every year.
Every year, And we did have to cut this one back, like I say, this last year. John came out, and this one had actually, oh gosh, this is going on 18 years.
Oh my
So this one
word.
really did need to be cut back and have new growth.
And it's the better for it. A lot of
that's
times
what I
that's the
hear.
best thing you can do is to rejuvenate something. Now, we're alluding a bit to John Fluitt and his company, Garden Designs, but you guys do a lot of this. I know you and Van, your husband, do a lot of this yourself.
And my husband's whole family, entire family, loves gardens. And I have learned so much through his family. And my mother was more of an inside person. And I have we lived in Colorado, so through the years, I've really learned to appreciate gardens and the beauty of them, and just the happiness that you get from
I love that
earthy.
you say that. Yes,
Yes,
just
the
that
earthiness.
I call it garden-inspired living, how
Right.
this informs every other part. And you also have the inside of her house, you guys, is absolutely
Oh, thank
gorgeous,
you.
just as
Thank you so
lovely as the outside.
Thank you, Linda.
But there's a
Sweet of you.
beautiful immersion of the two. I think that the one informs the other, and she was talking about looking at her kitchen window at this porcelain berry vine, and I think that's so important to look out your windows to see what
enjoy.
perspective you'll see. And then of course this is very neat, very tidy, gravel and clipped box. Well, we are bombarding you with so many fabulous ideas that we're breaking this one up into two parts. So that was the front yard, and we will save the magical space in the backyard for part two.